Alright, it's time for the extremely infrequent Oprah Winfrey Book Club, except for it's not a bunch of housewives, there's no budget, it's way sadder because we're talking to young men our age, just going, oh, let's bitch about our wives, girlfriends. It's pretty much what this is.
It's an honor to be here. I've done all the other, I guess the more poop-related Friendly Journeys content, so it's nice to be on the more serious side.
He's from the podcast, in case you haven't listened to it. This is Mislav Balabrajic.
Hello.
Pretty much that bad guy in Rayman that's a saxophone. That's what he looks like anyway, but he's not mean like he is. Life's a complicated place. Look, think about it. Look, that's what we're here to do. Got the two Bibles here. Tony Robbins says, unlimited power. And of course the New Testament, awaken the giant within. That you started reading.
Yeah.
And this is basically just a cross promotion, just saying this is a podcast. But on top of that, we've got my boy Mislav, one of my oldest and dearest friends who have finally gotten to start reading one of the Tony Robbins books. And because there's a bunch of people that always go, Tony Robbins is snake oil salesman. Sorry to use the biggest buzzword on the net. That's like really dated at this point anyway, but it triggered it for me. So I just need to get some confirmation.
I thought you were going to say it's not lit.
Yes, shit, damn, I shouldn't have said that.
That's just as bad.
What, you're saying this isn't fire? Look, miss, because just as always, people do this cardinal sin of judging a book by its cover and going, it's shit because I read the title. So anyway, look, I want you to just give us a rundown because in your usual Mislav style, if anyone knows, we spent weeks calculating when you first started saying I've almost finished Death of the West.
So embarrassing. and such a it's not Harry Potter 2, is it? So I'm sure a book like that draws the line, it divides people. But yeah, how long was it?
Yeah, it ended up being, you were saying I've almost finished it for nearly a year. Oh. So by your standards, you are powering through this. He is the tortoise in the tortoise and the
I'll show you how far I've gotten. I mean, just as for the audience. Oh, is that where you're up to? Oh, that's you started reading, right?
Well, so, yeah, this is Bible quote things that I put in.
Look, I mean, it's somewhere around here. Yeah, look, it's probably like here. It's pretty pathetic, but if you can see, I've read that much. That's what?
On a book about motivation.
But that's just me. That's just unfortunately. But look, would you like it? What would you like, a review of it?
I just like you to extrapolate on the idea. Tell us what you've gotten from the book so far.
Okay, well, basically, it is like book club. It's Oprah's book club.
Yeah, it is.
You get a book. You get a book. Well, basically, so like, I mean, I think half the reason why it's taken so long, it's taken me so long to get through it, first of all, is because I'm highlighting as I go. Because essentially, to give a bit of backstory, basically, me, like probably like everybody else in the world, or not in the world, but like whoever, I don't know, our group of friends who are that sort of the general zeitgeist, I suppose. Assume he's like a snake oil salesman, where it's just like, he's in that movie with Jack Black, so like, he's just a joke, right? Yeah.
Because that movie was.
And Shelley was alright.
Furthermore, just being like, the only inspiration you need, Mastodon.
What do you mean?
They might be righteous at rocking out the tunes, but like really, the fact that those guys that sit around in pubs all day, downing the skewies, sitting there and just being like, look, Mastodon is what got me to where I am today. Next to that guy who's watching the Maroons fight the fucking Roaches.
Yeah, but basically, like, that was my opinion initially, and I basically had that opinion of sort of just like, it's gonna be crap, and then. As did I. And then I think you bought it. Yeah, you bought it for me. I can't remember when. It was for my birthday or something. I can't remember. You bought it for me.
I mean, this guy is the human Amway, isn't he? He kind of convinces you so hard that he's mad that you go and buy his book for other people.
Which you've done like numerous times.
Many a time. But you're the only one that actually read it though, so credit to you.
Oh, well, reading. But okay, so basically that was my initial opinion, so just, that I'm not bought and sold by anybody. But I basically had the opinion of sort of like, what do I have to lose? Like, I'll give it a shot. I'll just like try to read it and see how I go. Because I think a lot of the stuff you were telling me was sort of an amalgam of this book, and sort of like a generalization of the stuff that you had utilized in your own life and in your creative endeavors.
Well, he is the OG self-help guru, in that he got he's not. He is that trapper keeper monster in that season 4 episode of South Park where it just amalgamates with every other electronic device on earth. That is him with every other self-help guru in history, pretty much. It's just like, I've read all of Buddha, I'm Marcus Aurelius, and I've got the best ideas.
Yeah. So basically,
you're pretty much reading every self-help book on earth by reading that.
So I have to think back about how I can summarize. Basically, okay, so it starts, I have to think. I mean, the main points that come to mind are essentially it's basically, for me, it's been like the psychology behind the power of the mind. I mean, it's called Awaken the Giant Within, even though it's the second one in that edition. Jordan got me the other one too, I haven't started reading that. But basically, from what it'll be...
This is really scary, isn't it? It's just like making you do one of those book reviews where you haven't read the book. This is a nightmare for you, isn't it?
No.
You're going to wake up in a second.
No, look, he basically talks about... There was a few things that stood out. One of them was... talking about the power of the mind, he talks about how there's people that they have split personality disorders, like heavy psychosis, and there's people with heavy split personality disorder. And he talks about how essentially there have been cases in America where these people with split personality disorders have actually been able to cure diseases and ailments that they physiologically have through the process of their split personality disorder. There's been people that have it's been observed that they can change their eye color. People with split personality
Why is that
disorder.
so much more profound? That's so much scarier to me than them curing diseases. Just being like, oh, really? They had brown eyes. Every time, I still remember that.
Because you looked at the iRobot case for like a minute, and that's just been implanted in your mind. It's like, whoa. That's probably it. But shout out, Will. But basically, look, that is just one thing that's come to me now, which I thought, like, there's a lot of moments where I've put it down and just been like, what? And I put it down and I was just like, holy crap, like, that is a profound, that's incredible. Like, as an example of the power of the mind. And
this is in his chapter on the power of belief.
The power of belief, exactly, the power of belief.
Which is to sum this up, what he's saying is, it's pretty much just a slightly more scientific version of The Secret, which wouldn't be hard. But I still love The Secret. Won't hear a bad word about it.
I haven't. Is The Secret is it a documentary?
Yeah, it's pretty much just Oprah Winfrey's mind.
Oh, Jesus.
That's pretty much what you're watching.
Okay.
And it's great. Really like it. But obviously then a lot of the rest of it is about like, but also, you know what's really important? Doing things.
Yeah.
Which is the missing part of The Secret, is actually the, like, yeah.
I mean, look,
like it'd be nice to sit around and think about things all day, but we all know somebody like that, and usually all they have as a result is bipolar. But he puts action to it. But in the power of belief, what he is saying is, whatever you think is possible for you is what your mind starts gelling around. It starts putting off blinkers and says, this is what I deserve in life. Yeah. And there's two ways that this goes. And the first one is that a lot of people in life have what they call like a failure barrier, a success barrier, in that they think they're earning $60,000 a year and they think that that's what they're worth. So there's all these potential opportunities for them to be earning a lot more money. Say that they learn to play piano a lot as a kid and they actually are good at piano, and so they could teach piano on the side to up it to, I don't know, 70 grand or something like that. Just a really simple example. But their brain blocks that out
and stops
because it thinks that's what I'm worth. Yeah. Or in any field, this isn't just, you know, like in love, in your body, all of these things, you have a psychological, subconscious barrier in your mind of what you think you're worth. And what is scary about that is if you don't actively do it and keep writing down that you are worth more than what you are at that point, your brain just subconsciously keeps you there.
That's scary, yeah.
Yes, but here's the scarier part. Here's the other part that he talks about is even if you break that barrier. No, sorry. The other thing it's scarier in a way. Obviously, it's not scarier than that. But the other thing that happens is you have a failure barrier, which is that if you lose your job, most people think I'm actually worth having a job, and then they go out and get one, right? But then there's other people that they just keep going down because they feel like they don't deserve what they currently have. And so it depends what you accept as like a bare minimum in life, but it also depends on what you will accept as a bare maximum.
Yeah.
And that changes purely by what you think.
Yeah.
That's the big take home of that chapter.
I think look, I should really have read, I have to read it all, but like I said, you know, see in a couple of years, but I'll finish it. But hopefully not. But essentially, I think a big part of it is
steam train.
I think
in an age of electricity.
I think a big proportion. I mean, there's a lot. You know, in like the amount I've read, there's still a lot in there. But I think a big proportion of this kind of like he's reinforcing the idea that like it's basically proven, basically proof that. If you actually believe something, you can make it happen, no matter. And there is an overall sort of feeling of like, because I think that in society, especially the way our generation was raised, it's this kind of thing of like you can be whatever you want to be, but it wasn't necessarily taught to our generation that you had to do the hard work. They kind of like skipped that part. It was like just you can be an astronaut, but you don't have to. You didn't think about studying aerodynamics and maths and biology and physics and like it was just sort of like, you know, it was like half
That's
of the puzzle.
Such a good way of putting it.
Do you know what I mean?
That's
it was
a
like
perfect analogy.
It was like half of the puzzle, and I think I think a lot of what he's saying is like that proportion of that sort of idea is true. You can be whatever you want to be if you put your mind to it. But then he's sort of stressing he's stressing like the put your mind to it part is the important part. It's like, yeah, you have to dream big, but like you have to have active like plans. Like there's an analogy of the table where it's like a belief table where it's like 4 pillars, and it's like you have to
essentially you can accrue for a belief for anything by just using references in the past, because it's true. There would have been points. If you're saying that you're scared of public speaking, there would have been a point in your life where you were really drunk talking to people on that classic shit glass table that's green.
and a cigarette like thing full of ciggies. Like empty it like once a week.
Yes. And a Corona that's half drunk.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of times in the night where you think, I don't know whose that is, but should I go for it?
Yeah, I'm going to go for it. Fuck it. Yeah.
That's the Aussie version of what he's talking about. So just to relate, because otherwise people will be like, what's a table?
There's international viewers of this, isn't there?
But what he's saying is that anything that you're saying, so if you're scared of public speaking, there would have been examples in your past where you did speak to more than one person at once. And that is pretty much the same whether it comes to a few people or 1,000 people. You know what the trick is? It's actually scarier talking to 50 people than it is 1,000. I've spoken to both levels.
It's the same thing as playing a show. Playing the like 14 people where you can see like
the disappointment.
Versus, you know, 100 where it's just like, a sea of meat. Yeah, bodies.
Yes.
You know, obviously.
And you're just feeling the general energy of the room.
I love all these little quotes as well. Sorry, I'm just to cut you off. Just quickly, there's all these quotes dotted throughout. They're like as an example, Sir Thomas Browne. Men live by intervals of reason under the sovereignty of humour and passion. I mean, like, just like a man who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than it's necessary. Like, it's kind of like old school 80s Wall Street self-help, which is like, it's the only stuff
it's the only self-help you need.
Well, it's the only stuff that I've dabbled in, and it's pretty on point. Like, it's back to basics. It's almost like being reminded of the essentials. It's like it's like being taught how to cook Italian food. It's like bread, pasta, tomatoes, like it's kind of just like basic principles that are like, look, you can shape your destiny. You can do whatever you want to do. Just follow these there's no trickery. It's just like write them down, follow the ideas, see them out to the end, genuinely believe in yourself, even if it sounds crazy.
Snake oil salesman.
Exact opposite. It's like even if it sounds crazy, even no matter how crazy it sounds, like give into the craziness and just kind of go with it. Like, what do you have to lose? And then, as well as that, definitely the idea of like, you know, what's really cool? Hearing about genuine stories of people that are like, I knew people that were homeless that are CEOs. It's like, whenever I read anything like that,
anecdotes are great.
But whenever I read anything like that, or even his own life, there's a story about his own life, and like he had a hard life, and he completely turned it around. And it's like, if you sort of don't just brush it off as if you really take it in, you're like, that happened, then it can't not have an effect on you in terms of being like, whoa, that is crazy. Like, it's more, this stuff in this book is way more interesting than like fiction. It's way better than Harry Potter. There's real scenarios that seem impossible and really hard, and like it shouldn't be, it's not like there's no secrets, it's just techniques, and it's like simple things. It's teaching you to not
it's a recipe book for life.
You don't have to, you know, it's like, I think a lot of a lot of society, of like, generally speaking in the West, it's like people are sort of given the worst parts of things. It's like, you can be narcissistic, you can be hard on yourself, you know, you can expect to fail, and it's kind of like, try just flipping it where you expect to do really well and just consistently follow up those things.
And keep that expectation.
Yeah, it's like
he dispels all of these crap, because the thing is, any belief that you have inside your head is exactly that, and then the rest of your life is judged by that set of beliefs.
Like, read that. This is the first quote. The book opens with this quote, and it's on its own. It's just like, oh, that's really profound.
A consistent man believes in destiny. A capricious man in chance. Benjamin Disraeli.
But isn't that even that profound in that it's like, surely statistically, if you believe in the idea of chance, even if it's on a logical level, versus shaping your own destiny, it's like, it's gonna fail. Like, the nature of chance is that it's a one in a whatever.
Well, it's just a weak belief.
It's
as opposed to there is genuine study into this where they show that, and it is pretty much Einstein's quote where he says that the most important question you need to answer yourself is the universe a good place or a bad place? That's interesting. Like, is the universe working for you, or is it working against you?
That's interesting.
So that's the way that they think about it. It's called being an inverse paranoid.
Oh,
that's
wow.
a powerful belief. And to think that the universe is conspiring for you as opposed to conspiring against you. And then is what they're saying. There's other people that just sit there and think they're so above it, and that they know that life is just all random chance.
Yeah.
Like Nicolas Cage's character in that movie about aliens that was pretty shit.
He probably doesn't believe in chance. He's probably
But look, the thing is that, if you have that belief that everything is happening to you for a reason, and that in the end things will work out for you if you do your bit. That is a much more powerful place, because it gives you a natural confidence. That nobody else, because it's the same thing as like people in AA meetings. One of the things that that a lot of psychologists cannot get over is the fact that a tenement of the 12-step process is that you need to believe in God or some other higher power. Okay. Now, there is reason for that. And it is because in your darkest moments, if you think that someone is there with you on your side, when nobody actually is, that is going to get you through that. So there's a lot of people that, if you just think that life is random and shit is happening to you by chance, it's the same thing as like, on average, when they look at religious people as opposed to atheists, religious people are happier. Now, does that mean that they don't have a bunch of other beliefs that are wrong that atheists do? Yeah, no, obviously not. But the thing is that they are doing life better. You see all of these Christians that are living really fulfilling, happy lives where they're helping other people as well. Like, I think it was, I can't remember the comedian who it was, but they said the best thing, it was one of the best quotes I ever heard, which is just like, I've never seen a soup kitchen that's run by the Atheist Society.
And another testament as to why I rock Christian radio, because they're nice and it's funny. No, look,
but it's
I
understanding the psychology behind belief.
Yeah.
Or the faith or whatever, and as opposed to like having a religion shape that faith into taking money away from you, just going to the source of what is working in that scenario and why it's been so powerful for human beings since the dawn of humans.
Yeah.
As soon as we've been able to imagine things that aren't there, that is what has actually made humans more successful than Neanderthals.
Yeah.
Because they can rally around together and they've got a common cause.
And look, I wasn't an expert at this at all. Like, I mean, like, I think if you're up against what's the word, like amountable odds, what's the whatever the term is, but like if you're insurmountable. Yeah. If that's your scenario, or you perceive it as that scenario, it's really hard to start, or it's really hard to be like, oh, it's too hard, and like, you know. I was talking to Jordan earlier when we started when I joined the pod, which is like, I don't know, a couple of years ago, because I'm like doing music and stuff like that, and it's like, you know, I was in that psychology, just being like, oh, it's hard, but like, and it's I can't do it, it's too much, you know, everyone's against me and stuff, but the reality was, it's like, like what my expectation was versus what effort I was putting into was like, a child could have been like, well, maybe put a bit more in the doing stuff side, you know, like it was like embarrassing to that point. And now, like, I have to work on it, because I'm always telling myself, like, you don't deserve shit, like, work for it. Like, it's just the reality of it. Like, I almost think that the way our generation was raised was I had the best childhood ever, but it was like kind of crap in that sense of like, you can do anything, but I was never once told you can do anything, but you have to work hard. It was always, you can do anything. Always!
And that's what Tony Robbins is always pointing out, is that the last few generations in the West have been taught
and it's a crime.
You are special.
Yeah, exactly.
When they should be taught, you work hard, which is what Asians are taught.
Which is why they kill it. So it's like, and like, without even reading any Tony Robbins, like, over the last couple of years, I've been like 300% more productive over that time.
I can attest to that as well. And the thing is, look,
just by changing the hardest thing to do is change. The hardest thing, whether it's exercising or dieting, it's hard. But
what changes
you just have to do? Like, I don't know. There's no magic answer. I think, but you just have to kind of do it. And like, books like this help, because it's like, he's like this giant 7-foot man in a suit that's kind of like, yeah, I was down and out too. Yeah. And it kind of actually...
Do what I'm saying or I'll eat you.
And he's... and he's not an unintelligent man. He's a very empathetic, intelligent man. Once you get over the sort of gimmick of it, it's actually just kind of like a thesis. It's just something interesting. And it's just better than, Langolian Leviosa. Much better, actually. Much better.
So good. It is just a real life magic spell book.
I mean, it's just
well, that's one way of looking at it. You can also look at the previous one, but also, Mislav, going back on that, I remember when we started doing the podcast, because we hadn't talked for like a few years, because I was going overseas and he went overseas, and that's life, kiddies, if you're in high school. But what I remember from it is I started doing the podcast with you, and I remember hearing your mindset on what the music industry was.
Yeah.
And you were saying that it's all about connections. It's just about if you're like fucking the right person. That's all they give a shit about, man. And then I just remember saying, yeah, but how much music have you released? And you were just like, yeah, none. So, but since that, and it's not me per se just changing his mind, because Tony Robbins changed my mind and all the self-help gurus that went into it before that. This is just age-old wisdom, but somebody needs to teach you these things.
It's cyclical.
And so, but the thing is, like, because you hadn't read those books and I had, I remember being able to change a few of those fundamental beliefs in your head.
Yeah.
And I don't take credit for it. I give all credit to this man. But
you did, and it had, like, huge effects.
It has effects, because you've released a bunch of music now.
Yeah,
You've
like
released videos.
Yeah, I'm just like...
None of that was there before.
Like, compared to what I was doing, like putting in so much more effort and actually getting stuff done, you know, in reasonable, like, you know, reasonable time.
As I've said on this as I've said on this show 1,000 times, I pay you out all the time, but I also am always pointing out
on this show
all the time. But the thing is, what I'm saying though is that Mislav is not a not talented man. He is actually one of the most talented musicians I know, especially because he started with violin. And then going into guitar is just like going down from like learning how to play like using a nuclear reactor and then going like to
yeah, it's a nuclear reactor to a drone. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And so Mislav is look, he is incredible. You can just say now do classical gas, and he actually goes as is evidenced in the most recent pop. Listen to it, but that doesn't... Talent is nothing. Talent is nothing if you don't have the right mindset. Because you aren't... Absolutely. Because if you sit there, and that was his belief, that all that happens is that somebody comes along and taps you on the shoulder, anointing randomly while you're like pumping beers with the lads, and just goes, I assume you're a good musician, sir. Yeah. Or that like, you know, he wasn't born into the right family. He was basically going like, it's never going to happen because I'm not Michael Jackson's son. But... And look, this is the other thing as well. This book, I give full credit to the fact that you even know who I am. You would not know who I am if it wasn't for the teachings of Tony Robbins.
That's crazy, hey? Because you basically found... I thought you were joking about a story that you found it in your uni library, right?
No, that's what happened.
Such a like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory thing. It's like, you know, it's like, there's no way. And you're like, this is boring, but I'll do it anyway, you know?
I've got a golden teeth.
but it's cool that it's really... Sorry, go on. Yeah.
But the thing is that now that a few of his beliefs have changed, his productivity has increased. You see how it works? That you can just say that, like, yeah, doing is all what it's about. And I say that all the time as well. That is true. But that in itself is a belief. Mm. That's the power of belief that he talks about in this. That if you don't have the belief that getting action will get you somewhere, you don't do anything. Yeah. Because you sit there and say, well, what's the point of me doing anything? That was the mind frame that you were in.
Totally.
And then I look at your music as well. And on top of that, it's not like it was bad to begin with. But it's getting better. Because you're putting more effort into it, and just naturally it gets better.
It's like osmosis. And look... there's another saying which is it's probably in the book where it's just like if you're stuck on something, and maybe this is more of just like if you're trying to be creative, but if you're stuck on something, it's like just like without any rationalization, just do. Like even if it's anything, even if you write 3 arbitrary words, you know, if I'm like let's say if you're writing or something, 3 arbitrary words, and it's like. And I've done this, I've tried this, and it, like, almost without fail, it sparks it. So it's like, it's almost like, I do feel like it's kind of like starting the train is really hard, but then you get this sort of like osmosis where it's like, like an inertia where you just, it becomes easier. And like, if you sort of follow this sort of basic, I mean, if you basically just, consistently act, it's easier. It's like building a bridge, and it's hard.
And it becomes habit. And on top of that, and it's what you're describing actually. Look, I'm going to get torn apart as always, because anytime I ever mention anything and someone's just like, I know more on this subject than you. You're a dumb shit on every level. But look, I obviously don't know anything about science. Like I opened up a brief history of time, looked at the first page, didn't know 40% of the words. I just started laughing. I was just like, is this even English? But I think it's like Newtonian's law or something like that, where he says that it takes 3 parts of energy to get something moving. And once it's moving, it only takes 1 part of energy to keep it moving. That is just the law of life.
There you go.
Yes. And the other thing that they're saying is that whatever your brain is doing, it wants to continue doing.
Oh, wow, yeah. So, yeah. It's almost... it's cool that you do this stuff, like the channel, because it's just... And that's something that I guess is frustrating because... maybe it's just like the way your brain, if you don't train yourself into it, your brain sort of lapses back into that sort of idea where it's like, it's hard and stuff. Because, it's not a romantic, I think, look, it's not everyone's is trying to make it in creative endeavors, and like, that's mad. Like, I'm actually happy for you. It's like, whatever's fulfilling.
Someone has to do a job to buy the album. just a few.
Yeah, accountants. Yeah, you have to be an accountant to buy the album. But
Which
basically,
I think everyone that listens to this channel is a muso. I would be surprised if there is not one that does it. Every single person's always like, dude, that's helping me with my tunes, man.
That's it. That's mad. Because basically, I think that idea. It's like, it's not romantic. It's not romantic to be like, no one wants to think that a creative endeavor is repetitive and sometimes monotonous and sometimes, what other words would you associate with it? Like isolating, all of these sort of like realities. That's not the perception. Perception is that it's like romantic and it's sort of like, is this ethereal thing that you sort of grab from the air and it's like, oh, now it's, you just like throw it out there and like you molded it a bit and and now it's there, and like that's not the reality. And I think the more, it's almost like, it's not being like that sucks, but just being like, look, that's what it is. Am I willing to give it a crack the other way, which is just like consistently try to
it's the same thing as like that chick that was attacking Jordan Peterson, just going like, your ideas are simple. There's so many people like that.
What was it?
Yeah, that one. And it's just, it's like, look, most solutions in life are simple. There's complicated ones, sure, but in most things, it's not, the solution is not sexy, but it exists.
Yeah,
it's very simple to implicate. But as I was saying, simple does not equal easy, because your brain wants you to. Like, it just constantly. If you're not doing something, it'll just sit there and come up with reasons for you to not do something. That's how your brain works.
Exactly. I mean, it's almost like you got, and look, I am the best proponent, the best example of someone to be like I have to like constantly remind myself and like read this stuff and like fight it, because my natural inclination is to be like, well, Red Dead Redemption 1 can be replayed, so like it's
not going to play itself.
So it's like, and that's not cool if you're look, that's fine if that's what you want to do. But that's not fine if you expect results from something and you don't put the effort in. It's like, it's just like not. Look, if it did work that way, then the universe would be even a weirder place. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
I think luck.
This is very. Look, there's two criticisms that I just want to dissect before we go here. The main two criticisms of Tony Robbins is always he's a snake oil salesman. As Miss Love's pointed out, he's anything but a snake oil salesman.
I don't buy that.
Because he's teaching you universal truths that apply to success across any field.
And there's nothing.
And there's no trickery.
Exactly. There's nothing like. There's no smoke and mirrors. Like you'd think it is, but like you were saying with the Jordan Peterson thing, it's like a lot of the time, if it's in terms of productivity, the answers are really simple. And personally, it's very hard for me to get my head around a lot of the time, and I have to constantly remind myself and like bash it into my brain. But they are simple, like really simple answers to that kind of thing. So it's not like he's just like, what you want to do is like eat this vegetable, or like, it's
he has a whole chapter on that coming up, but yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Oh no, actually I think it's in Unlimited.
Oh, I haven't read that one. Well, there you go. Maybe it's just like, zucchini. But like,
yeah, look, that is another thing that, oh man.
Take the hilarity take the hilarity as like an endearing thing to bring you in.
Yes.
Jordan convinced me of that.
Great way, yeah.
Jordan convinced me.
I mean, how much more convincing do you need that this man's a hilarious dude? That like, it's the same photo on different colours.
Show the back. Don't worry about it, guys. Just flip it.
All right. How about today?
And then what was?
He's the real life Krusty the Clown. That's how professional does it.
That was a great. You were just like, all right, guys, you got, like, he's a busy man, obviously. He's like, you've got the shot. All right, guys, thanks, great. Have a great one. We'll see you next time. Like, he doesn't have time to take 2 photos. That's funny, man. I think I've like you've like your sense of humor is so infectious, and it's just made me be like, damn, Yeah, he is funny. Like,
Yeah.
not all comedians, like, there are more comedians than Jim Jeffries. There's guys,
Yes.
in fact, the funniest people tend to be the ones that
Aren't
aren't
trying to be funny.
Like your mum, probably. So, look, just take that
Makes me laugh, yeah.
Take that as a positive way to get into it, you know?
And the other just quick one that I want to get to is that thing of simplicity. That he's just like, he's selling a bunch of simple answers. Good.
Why is that bad?
You need to be reminded of those simple answers,
Yeah.
and it's good that they're simple because it means that you actually can do it. So, highly recommend it. Don't listen to anybody who says bad shit about Tony Robbins. At least read the book for yourself.
I totally agree.
And people just
read
go,
the book.
you're trying to sell books and stuff.
Just
Here's a
read
good
it.
idea. Did you know that libraries exist?
Yeah.
They definitely will have one of his books there.
And I'm not having this, you know, I've seen the cover, and the cover looks shiesty.
No,
I mean, look,
sorry.
Unless it's Toad Rage.
That's
Even
somebody,
Toad Rage,
somebody who
no.
doesn't read.
Sorry. I don't
What
read a
an
lot.
ignorant view on life.
Like, the qualification is you have to have at least read the book before you can intrinsically pay it out and think that you know everything about it, maybe?
Yeah, yeah.
That's fair.
That might be a good starting point.
You know?
Just
So-
food for thought. Like
Yeah.
this channel. See you next week. Make sure that you like this because
Nice
it
to
just
have.
helps a little bit.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, brother Ab. Dude, thank you. I'm really glad that you started reading it because
Yeah, dude,
honestly,
it's mad.
it is life-changing. And it is obvious in your results.
Yeah.
He just reached 1,000 likes on Facebook.
Oh,
And he's
stop
very
it.
happy about it. Make sure you do like Forest Hall as well. I legitimately think that their music is good music. And it's just that the
this
only
guy.
thing that was missing from Miss Love is effort.
Dude, no, absolutely.
He's
Yeah.
playing Red Dead Redemption a little bit less.
Just like 10 hours less a week.
See you next week, guys.